For physical geography assignment number 3, you are going to be doing two different things. First thing is you are going to be looking at weather maps over Alaska using Google Earth. And then you're also going to look at a National Weather Service forecast for a particular part of Alaska. And then what I want you to do is I want you to see how the weather map or maps that you're looking at help you to understand the prediction that the National Weather Service has made. I also want you to reflect on the importance of symbolization on the weather map that helps us to understand what we are actually looking at. The first thing that you are going to do is you are going to go to this page right here, which is linked in the assignment, and you're going to go to the Alaska Analyses and Forecasts, and you are going to download the 3 hourly analyses for the past 24 hours with a transparent background. Once you have downloaded that file, you should get a Google Earth image that looks something like this, or this Google Earth will come up and this will show. And what you can see here is the latest forecast for the weather situation in Alaska using the symbols that we've talked about in this class. On this map, for example, you can see a warm front here, a cold front down below, an occluded front. This is a wave cyclone right here. You can also see areas of high pressure and low pressure, a stationary front extending across the very northern part of Alaska and into Canada. And then you can see the brown lines here that show atmospheric pressure changes. And you can see that this is sort of a depression that goes down to the low. The closer these lines become, the faster the winds will be, as we talked about already in class. You can also see sort of dashed lines appearing, and these are troughs. They're beginning fronts just starting to develop generally. Another thing that you can glean from this map, if you zoom down a little bit, is you can see various weather stations. And these various weather stations are symbolized by a small blue circle, and then extending from that blue circle is usually a line, and that line shows the wind, its strength, and the direction from which it's coming. So here we have light winds coming from the north towards this weather station. This one over here has no winds whatsoever. If we go out here into the Gulf of Alaska where we have this low pressure, and we can also see that the lines are closer together, you'll see that this blue weather station right here has a line with more barbs on it, showing much faster wind. And you can see how that wind is moving counterclockwise around the low pressure area. So it might take you a little bit of time to get used to looking at the weather map, but I want you to take some time to really figure out what that weather map is showing and how it might help us to understand what is happening locally in an area. If you go to the layers over here, you can turn this map off and you can see that you can get further maps that show how various fronts will develop. So here that low that had been in the Gulf of Alaska has moved up. Here that is now retrograding and sort of dissipating and moving back over the Alaska Peninsula and will likely be gone. In South Central Alaska, it's being replaced by a high pressure area here, which is likely going to lead us to some nicer weather. And then when we click right here, you'll see that low is almost gone, but the high is not particularly strong either. Now, one thing that you should know is these analyses right here are given in Z hours, which is the time that it is in Greenwich, England, where the prime meridian is. So that latest surface analysis might actually not fit at the very top of the map. It might be embedded depending on what the time is for the latest surface analysis and where it is. So let's just keep that in mind. But you can definitely see how we're supposed to see various weather patterns emerging and then developing over time. The next thing I want you to do after you've looked at that map, and I think really the most important thing to be looking at here is the latest surface analysis, is to go to a website that is going to show you all of the state of Alaska. So this is the Alaska region map for the National Weather Service. And we can actually come in here and we can zoom in and out of Alaska, and we can select an individual place that we are interested in learning more about. And I'm just going to click right in sort of the central portion of the state right here. And when I click on that, it is going to bring up a forecast for that area. And that forecast, of course, can be related directly to the weather map that we're looking at here. Depending on whether or not there's a strong low pressure system, we might be about to see significant amounts of snow or rainfall, depending on the time of the year. If high pressure is going to develop, we might see partly sunny conditions or sunny conditions. Over here is a detailed forecast, and there's a locational map. And I recommend that you zoom out just a little bit to sort of give the context of where we are. And there we are, right where I clicked in the center of the state. I would like you to capture a screenshot that shows that map and the forecast as well. In addition, you should download an image from Google Earth, which of course we've done before now, so I'm not going to show you how to do that, of the weather map that you are using to help you understand this forecast. And then you need to write an essay. That essay is going to include two things. One will be an analysis of the weather, and the second thing that you're going to write about will be about the weather map itself and how the symbols on the weather map helped you to understand the weather that you were looking at. If you have questions, as always, let me know. I'm happy to help.